with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me. You could be around for
You could be with anyone, and I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me.
Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome to Sunday Night Talk Back. I know. I was supposed to do a reading of the Speak on Thursday, but I had a whole bunch of personal stuff going on, so that I'm not going to get into and bother everybody with. But hopefully everybody had an awesome week. We have tonight, I'm going to go ahead and play those messages from SpeakPipe, respond to those. Then I'm going to open up the floor for everybody to respond. I have a lot of stuff planned this week, so I'm very excited. If you guys can hear me, you can see me, go ahead, pop in a 1 so that I'm coming through loud and clear, that you guys can hear everything. I see some ones popping up, some folks that already did that. I appreciate you guys. Let's get it. It's going to be awesome. All right, guys. I have, wait, hold on 1 second. Ooh, I have some things that I had selected to do this week. So starting this week, to try to normalize the channel a little more, so that everybody is kind of up on what's going on a little more frequently. So I'm going to really try to map out everything that I have going on as far as what I have coming out, when, and everything else. I'm going to send it to my moderators. Will populate Facebook, and that way everybody will have kind of a schedule, running schedule, pretty much, of how I'm going to do things. Just to give you guys a kind of an idea, I'm going to, I told you I was going to do some, in addition to Sister Wives, I'm not abandoning Sister Wives, Mary Christine, Janelle, Robin, Cody, the OG3 and the villains. I haven't abandoned them, but I do plan on adding some additional topics to the lexicon that we discuss. So one of the things that I'm going to be talking about on Monday, I'm going to be talking about Love After Lockup, as well as for the members, I'm going to be dropping a motivational Monday message. That's something that I tried to do before. It did not go over well at all. So I'm gonna just drop that into the members thing. If it does well in the members, and the members think it's something that's worthwhile, I think I'll try to open it up for everybody to see. Just because I don't like to have folks edged out. But that's one of the perks that I'm gonna start rolling out for like memberships. I'm gonna put in like the motivational Mondays and maybe a little bit of advertisement about the videos that I plan on doing. Little behind the scenes, if you will. But I'm going to have the Monday will be the motivational Monday, as well as Love After Lockup. Going to do a recap on that. This Monday, the Love After Lockup, they had a thing where they did basically crime stories. So when the people were arrested, they would talk about how they came to be arrested, how they came to be locked up. And I wanted to do not necessarily the individual cases, but just an overview of that entire series. Because last Friday was the last one. So I just want to give my feel or my take as to how I saw their presentation and what value, if any, that those presentations had on the broader lexicon, a broader conversation, a broader discussion about criminal justice and a criminal justice system. Because I think that there's a part of it, just to give a little preview, there's a part of it that tries to glamorize like that bad behavior, that, oh, well, he's committing these kind of crimes. He's a big kingpin. He's a boss. She's a boss. She's running and rolling and controlling. But there are things that they say in their story that just doesn't make sense. And at first, I took it as they were trying to make themselves seem bigger than they were out of ego. But I think that what I discovered, or what I really thought about this week as I was watching it, is that they're trying to make themselves bigger, because who wants to be the dumbass who got locked up for some dumb stuff? So I'm going to talk about that. I'll release that video tomorrow for Monday. Then Tuesday, I'll have something for Sister Wives. Because again, like I said, I'm not abandoning Sister Wives. Then 90 Day Fiance, the original, that's airing on Sunday. So I'm going to have something on Wednesday. Then Last Resort, 90 Day. I'm going to have something on Thursday, and I will also do a live where I read the where I listen to the Speakpipe, speakpipe.com / my take on reality. If you want to leave a 90-second message, you can leave that message. It doesn't come right in. You have to approve it. But once you approve it, if you want to just say like anonymous or whatever, that's fine. Just leave your take and then we'll play it and I'll respond to it. Awesome. Easy peasy. So it's just a way that I feel like I can try to get more people to be able to voice their opinions in the stage or platform that they feel most comfortable in. So whether it's a call in or it's a phone call and message or just leaving your take in the chat section, it's up to you. All right. And then, of course, yeah. And then Friday, I was going to do kind of like a potluck where it'll be stuff that I find interesting. Most likely it'll be a lot of the court stuff that I talked about doing before. This Friday, I really want to try to push out that Ruby Frankie video because I wanted to start talking about it. And it's not just going to be about strictly Ruby Frankie, but I have a perspective on this that I haven't heard anybody else say online. So that's something to look forward to. This Friday, I will be dropping a video about Ruby Frankie and my take about that particular situation. All right. So it should be a good time. Raspberry said, Friday potluck without Cody's barbecue chicken. Yeah. Salmonella surprise. That's who want to be sick this week and lose some weight, y'all? Chicken burnt to a crisp on the outside, raw as fuck, dog fuck on the inside. Like you can't. Woo, there's nothing you can do. So yeah, we have that going on. But without further ado, let me, before I get too far afield, I am going to go back and I'm going to make sure that I have the thing copied, which I do now, and we're good to go. Okay, so here we go. And I'm going to just run this because I'm trying something a little different. As far as this is concerned, let me see. All right. So I'm going to try something a little different and we'll see how it goes. All right. So the first message that we have from Speakpipe is from Anonymous. Let's check out what Anonymous has to say.
Hello, James. This is Rose from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I love your show. I'm retired, so I watch it all the time. I was just wondering about something. Have you ever thought of having the OG3 on your show? We all know that they do interviews, so it's just a thought. Also, if you had, we know what that you'd be willing to debate Cody. But how about Robin? What if Robin went on your show? What kind of things would you say? Would you tiptoe around her or would you get to the facts? Just curious. Love you. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Great question. Let me make sure I stop that. All right. Great question. So essentially, I don't know if you guys could hear that. Hopefully you guys heard that. Okay. I try to run it through my system as opposed to just throwing it through the speakers. Hopefully you were able to hear it well. So essentially I was just asked if I was willing to have folks come on and have these kind of conversations. So, I'm willing to debate Cody on the whole idea of, was it, I keep forgetting the term that he used. It's just not in my vocabulary. It's not a word I use all the time. Hypergamy. So the idea that all of a sudden men are always in an esteemed position, women are always chasing after us. And I said, I'm willing to have that conversation with Cody, to have that discussion. Let's have it. Let's do this. But I challenged Cody to that. But would I be willing to talk to, like, say, Robin or one of the OG3? Absolutely. But here's the deal, though. If I were to speak to anyone on this platform, it's not about tiptoeing around subject matter. It's not about me, trying to get them on the show. Because I feel like this, and this is just my perspective. If I have to kiss your ass to get you to come on the show, and I can't talk to you about the things that are pressing or salient about why I would even have you on my show, then there's no point in you coming on the show. There's no point in us having that kind of conversation if we can't actually have a real conversation about what's actually going on. Like, for instance, if I brought on Mary, yeah, I'm going to ask you about the catfishing situation. I'm going to ask you about stuff so that way we can kind of put it to rest and put it to bed. She may feel like she doesn't want to talk about it, which is fine. I'm not trying to necessarily have debates or disagreements with people who come on the show at all. I want to have a discussion. But in order for us to have a conversation or discussion, we both have to feel that we can openly have that dialogue. We can openly express ourselves and be heard. And I'm not going to limit myself because, one, I feel like it'd be a disservice to me. And two, it would be a disservice to the people who support the channel, spend time on the channel, and would listen to that type of interview. If you would click onto that type of interview and I'm sitting there asking you softball ass questions, oh, well, Christine, what kind of cake do you like to make in Halloween and Thanksgiving? Is it delicious? Like that, nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody is curious about that. That's not why you would come on my show. Now, I don't run a cooking show. Now, if I ran a cooking show, that conversation might make sense. But I will want to talk about things. How are things with you and David? Do you guys find it is a little stressful to be on TV and try to conduct a relationship? That's a hard thing to do, for you to start out a relationship and be able to meld with a person, but then realizing that everything you do is under the microscope of public scrutiny. So if you make any mistakes or you have any arguments, those arguments, little arguments, can be blown up into a bigger state. How do you protect against that? What are the things that you do to ensure that your relationship is not only protected, but is able to be presented to the wider masses? How long do you think you're going to be on the show? Is your book your exit swan song to this show? Are you leaving this show? Because it starts to look to me like Christine is actually planning to leave the show. So yeah, I would ask her that question. I'm not just going to ask her, is Janelle your friend? Do you guys share Halloween gifts? Who gives a shit? Okay. So yeah, I want to have the conversation. And if I feel like I have to be nice to you to get you on the show, then I don't really want you on the show. If it's something where I have to kiss your ass in order to get you here, then I don't want you here. Because you know what I mean? I just don't feel comfortable doing that. So, and that goes for like I said, whether it's the OG3, whether it's Cody, Robin, whether it's one of the float around people like Jen or anybody else. Like, if you down with me and you want to roll with me, you're curious about stuff I say, that's fine. If you want to have a conversation about something I say, you want to disagree with me, I'm okay with that too. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. People disagree with me all the time. Hell, my wife sometimes to have a disagreement with me, which is normal and natural. Right? I'm not gonna sit up here and kick kick stuff over and start throwing a temper tantrum. Oh, she disagrees with me. Oh no, what am I gonna do with my life? Forget that. So no, yeah, absolutely. If they want to come on the show, I know I'm small time. But I'm willing to have the conversation because I think that I will ask questions that people genuinely want to know. Because I talk to people, I read a lot of the comments, I read a lot of the chat, and I have my own questions. And I don't think that I'm any different than most people who tune in to Sister Wives, right? So I think that we all pretty much have kind of the same rough questions about how things are going, how things are progressing, what's going on, what's happening, et cetera, et cetera. I have a video I did see where there was some brouhaha raised about Mary and her response to some of her fans. And I take exception to some of the things that she said, how she presented herself to the fans. So that probably will be one of the videos that I release on this week, talking about Mary and her getting kind of squirrely with some of the fans and how she responds and talks to them. Because the one thing that I've always said, that especially when you do something like this, you have to respect the people who are supporting you. If you don't respect the people who are supporting you, then you need to get out of the business. You need to, you know what I mean? No disrespect to anybody. But, oh, well, you guys are asking me personal questions. Yeah, because you put your life on a reality show. So people going to ask you personal questions. Why you guys keep asking me about Robin and Cody? Because what else do we know you for? Sorry, not sorry. That's what we know you for. If I was famous for putting down, what are them things called? Whoopee cushions. I'm the whoopee cushion bandit. And I run around and all I do all week, I videotape myself every week putting down a whoopee cushion or like celebrities and stars and politicians, and they sit down in the seat, and then that's what I'm famous for. I can't be upset if I get invited on the Good Morning America and all they want to talk about is damn whoopee cushions. I'm a person. I have feelings too. You guys didn't ask me nothing about my personal life. No, because we just know you for whoopee cushions. It's just like if I had LeBron James on here, I'm going to talk to him about basketball. What else I'm going to talk to him about? Well, what do you feel about the color yellow? Shit. he's a basketball player. I'm talking about basketball. You're on a reality show. It's supposed to depict your life. So people are going to ask you questions about your life. I'm not going to go too deep into that because, again, that's going to be a video. So look forward to that. I'm just saying it is what it is. But no, I do not plan on kissing somebody's tail, because to be honest with you, I'd rather sit in the lobby and say what I'm going to say, how I want to say it, than to sit on a stage with somebody and have somebody telling me that I can't ask them a question, or they're going to say something like, I couldn't sit there like Suki. I mean, I don't know. Depending on, I guess, how much they paying Suki ass. I might be talking out of school. I don't know what I don't know what them checks look like. I ain't get a Suki check yet. But if I'm sitting there like Suki, I want to ask those questions, ask those follow-up questions. What are you talking about? That makes no sense. We all watched you do ABC. So now you're sitting there pretending like that never happened when we watched you do it. So what are we saying? You know what I mean? Oh, now that played bad because you directed the you directed the scene, and now all of a sudden it came off bad. Now you want to take it back and pretend like that's not what happened and try to redraft it into something else. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So, and I'm not going to sit here and have you make a fool out of me, and I'm not going to become an advocate or a co-conspirator for you to make a fool out of the people who are watching the show, because these people take time out to watch the show. And to be honest with you, one of the bones that I have to pick with TLC as a whole is that it's very disrespectful for you to take your audience for granted and just put out anything that you want to put out however you want to put it out, and we just supposed to sit there and watch it. It's disrespectful to me, and it's disrespectful to my time. Some people may say, well, James, part of the reason why sometimes like my content might even be a little slow, because I don't want to disrespect my audience. People take time out, and I respect people's time. If you take time out to watch my stuff, I want to make sure I'm saying something or doing something of note or interest that actually might contribute to somewhere in your life, your lexicon, make you feel good, make you laugh, make you smile, make you think something. I just don't want to get on here and just say yakety smackety scoobity doo and just say whatever I'm going to say that has nothing to do with anything and just repeating Cody's a son of a bitch and Robin's an asshole. Take two, and let that be that. I want to actually say something. So I want to make sure that I'm honoring you guys, because you're the ones who are spending time on my content and hanging out with me and supporting the channel and everything else. So out of respect for you guys, I want to make sure that I'm giving you good content. And I think that TLC needs to take a page out of that book and start delivering good content. Stop showing us the same shit week after week after week and then wonder why the numbers are going down. Wonder why people are tuning in less. We watched Christine, God love her, she got married. I'm happy for her. That's awesome. But we sat through the wedding twice. We sat through the buildup twice. What are we doing? And this is well before like the whole thing with Gary's. And I understand with Big G's passing, maybe they had to make some changes and rearranges so they can make the season make sense. because it was, they had a lot in the can, and I suspect that a lot of last season, or at least the first part of last season, had to deal with him. And so they had to make some changes to accommodate that. I get it. But moving forward, the second half better be fire. Simple as that. You know who I want to interview? I want to interview the producers of this show. Let's put them on the couch. Not just OG3. I do want to talk to them, but I want to talk to the producers too. Or I want to talk to somebody at TLC. Because I got a lot of things that I want to ask them about, not just Sister Wives, but things I noticed about 90 Day Fiance, things I noticed about, different shows. Just saying. Let's do that. Let's do that. How about that? We could get past all the NDAs at that point. All right. But next up, we have Rose from Canada.
Hello, James. This is Rose.
Hello.
From Manipulative, Canada. I love your show. I'm retired, so I watch it all the time. I was just wondering about something. Have you ever thought of having the OG3 on your show? We all know that they do interviews, so it's just a thought. Also, if you had, what that you'd be willing to debate Cody.
Oh, yeah. I just did Rose from Canada twice. Okay. Well, everything I just said, ditto. After I got finished lecturing about how I don't like wasting time. Ain't that something? That's the universe, like, slapped you down. Next up, we got Ripley's mom.
It was obvious from day one that his relationship with Robin was far different than the relationship that Cody had with his first three wives. Tried to give him a benefit of doubt and think that, okay, he chose these three women. I don't think it was a matter of falling madly in love. I think it was a matter of choosing to be in love with them, choosing to have children and building a family together, and the faith that they were in. And when he brought Robin in, unfortunately, he fell in love with somebody that was very different from the original three women, that really didn't have aspirations for the whole family, but more for herself. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be hurtful to Robin, but it is very obvious what her priorities are. I never understood why he didn't sit down with the other three women and sort out everything about him loving Robin more than the others, in order to stop all the pain that this family has gone through, the pain that the children have gone through, that the women have gone through, could have been avoided by just some very straightforward honesty.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Like, I agree with Ripley's mom. Like, the life of everybody involved would have been so much easier had Cody and Robin actually came to them early on and said, this whole polygamy thing is over. I love Robin. She's amazing. The rest of y'all kick rocks. Cold-blooded as hell, but it would have saved a lot of pain. Now, here's the thing, though, and why he probably didn't do it. It's one, like a lot of people, and to a degree, here's the crazy part. I know it's not officially cheating, but I would classify some of the ways that they did this, or the ways that they kind of manage these relationships, I would classify a lot of it as cheating. Okay, and I'll explain why. It was cheating because, one, there was an agreement in place where they were supposed to have these relationships in under certain parameters and under certain guidelines, which Robin and Cody did not follow. The OG3 agreed to polygamy. They agreed that Cody would see other people. What they did not agree with or agree to was Cody going out, dating a woman or fancying himself with a woman behind their backs, and then extracting himself from the rest of the family so that he could isolate that one relationship and hold that one relationship at a higher esteem than he holds all others. So I think that is a fair criticism of Cody. But like most cheaters, I don't think Cody was going to have the recognition of himself saying that I did something wrong. I was wrong. I'm conducting myself in a way that I should not conduct myself because it's not fair, it's not right, and it's not appropriate. Most cheaters don't see themselves as the bad person. They have 1,000,001 reasons as to why they are allowed to cheat, why what they're doing is justified. And I think that in Cody's mind and Robin's mind, they've settled on the fact that everything they did was justifiable. That I can love who I want to love, and as long as I'm pretending or I'm acting in a certain manner or behaving in a certain way, then I'm giving them everything that they're due and they're owed. Right? But that's not what they signed up for. Each one of the OG3 signed up to have a loving, committed relationship with Cody. They didn't sign up just to be turned into basically a chattel that's just crapping out kids all over the place for Cody and pretending to be a spouse or somebody who's important in his life so that he can get into the higher levels of heaven. That's not what the agreement was. So I think that was part of the struggle as well. Then in addition to that, you have the social pressures where they're in a type of community where it wouldn't have been appropriate for Cody to meet a woman, fall in love with her, and then tell his other wives, yeah, it's over because I love her. Right? Not to mention, finally, I think that there's also a part where, Cody wanted that money. Cody wanted that money. It comes down to the dollars. If it don't make dollars, it don't make damn sense. Okay. And if he would have came out in the beginning and he would have said, yeah, guys, I'm in love with Robin. That's who I want to be with. That's who I'm married to. That's who I want to be married to. The OG3, it was fun, but think of the good time, baby. I'm out. Like, if he would have did that, there would have been a show and he would have lost the money. And ironically, he would have lost Robin. I think deep down he understands that as well. That's why he's so focused on the idea of hypergamy, because what is it? Usually every accusation is a confession. He understands that he blames the OG3 for only wanting to be with him for materialistic reasons. But I think that he blames the OG3 for wanting to be with him for materialistic reasons because he understands that the woman that he loves and the woman he wants to be with is only with him for materialistic reasons. And if he loses that show, he's going to lose his wife, the one he wants, the love of his life, and soulmate and all that other stuff. All that would have went clean out the damn window. So from that respect, I don't think Cody would have ever admitted that he only loved Robin and he didn't love the OG3. The only reason why he's admitting that now or saying that now is because they dumped his ass. They dumped him and they made him look bad. He looks horrible now because he's the dude that got dumped on national TV, not once, not twice, but thrice. 3 women looked at him and said, "You ain't shit," and walked out the door on TV. So yeah, he's like the dude who's driving who's riding in his buddy's car, sitting in the passenger seat, trying to holler at the young lady on the walking down the street. "Hey, baby, what's up? What's going on? You want to ride? I can't ride with you." If I want to ride, you're gonna have to get out because you're not driving shit. You riding. How you gonna invite me to ride? You ride. Oh, see, that's your problem right there. You ain't nothing. You ain't nobody. You ain't as fine as you thought you was. Like that whole bullshit. You know what I mean? You stupid ass, and call the bees and everything else, right? That's because his little feelings got hurt. That's why he's talking as much crap about them as he is. But had they just fell in line and had they just kept kicking money in, and I got to talk about that bank money, boy. Oh, we're gonna have a conversation about the bank. But had they just kept kicking money in, had they not complained, Cody would have kept them around forever. Him and Robin would have kept them around until they spent their last nickels. But because they dumped him, that's when he started talking all that, oh, I love Robin, Robin, the only one I want to be with. Hopefully that answers your question, but good point. Good point. Thanks for the call in, Ripley's mom. Next up, we got Michelle Littlefield.
Reality. My take on reality found. I hope everybody's doing great. This is Michelle Littlefield, and I just thought I would try the speak pipe.
All right.
I can't wait for the show to start again, and I hope that everything is good with everybody. Have a great time tonight.
All right, Michelle Littlefield, she just wanted to deliver some love, and I accept that love, Michelle Littlefield. All right. Thank you for calling in, Michelle. I think that's Michelle calls in. Awesome. And we have another person who calls in. And by the way, I dropped the link for the call in. If you guys want to call in, you're more than welcome to call in. That link is now at the top. So if you click the link, you can come up and you can voice your opinions and we can have a conversation. All right, next up we have Kitty. Kitty, what's going on? Let's hear it.
Hey y'all, I just want to say thank you to everybody, and James, you're doing a great job.
All right,
My question here is, what's going to happen when people realize that Cody's going to be in the tank?
Uh-oh. What's going to happen when people realize Cody's going to be in the tank? Thank you so much for calling in, Kitty. Appreciate you. Hopefully you call in tonight. I'm not sure what in the tank means, but I will say this. I think that people may be surprised because, like it or not, in order for them to continue with this show, some changes have to be made. Okay, like the spatially, it makes no sense for them to continue. I honestly don't know how long they can continue to drag out Cody Pass. And I got to tell you guys that I might have to drop a couple. I might have to just, eat it up, work it out. I might have to drop a couple sister wife videos this week, because I was talking to my wife earlier and she made the most boss ass point about Cody Pass, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. Like when she said, I was like, damn, that's a good point. I didn't think about it. I'm telling you, she dropped a gem on my ass because she just hit that raw, like straight up, no bullshit talk. I was like, what? So I can't wait to share that with you guys. But yeah, I'm gonna have to drop at least 2, maybe 3 sister wife videos this week so I can keep up. But thank you guys so much for calling in. For everybody who called SpeakPipe, again, you can reach me at the speakpipe.com at speakpipe.com /MyTakeOnReality. You can leave a 90-second message. Again, you don't have to leave your name. If you say something crazy and it's completely inappropriate, then, editor's choice. Like I have to, not play it. But for the most part, if you disagree with me, if you are the person who looks at this situation and you say to yourself, dang it, Cody and Robin are right. Why are you guys so rough on them? And you disagree with me, by all means, call in and leave your message. Let me hear what your perspective is. I have 0 problems with people calling in and disagreeing with anything that I say, because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know every damn thing. I'm not one of those people on YouTube that sit here. I'm not a person on YouTube or person in general who you can't call and have a conversation with me and disagree with me. Like, that's just ridiculous. So by all means, call in, leave a message, disagree with me, whatever the case may be. If you agree with me, that's fine too. No problem. But leave your message, leave your take, because I'm gonna be honest. Just like when I was talking to my lady earlier, and she said that about Cody Pass, and it was something that I didn't think about, that's what I like. I like, hearing things from like different perspectives, because everybody isn't going to see the thing the same way. And it helps when it helps you to get the whole picture when you get other people's perspective on it. So that's what I like. So if you want to call in, leave a message, by all means do that. All right, guys. Here's your opportunity. I saw Carmel Cuties called in. You can call back. Nobody's in the loop. So by all means, call in. Let's see if I can drop this. I'm gonna drop it in the yeah, I might leave it there because I won't make it. If I put it on the screen, it won't be linkable. But yeah, we have Kitty in the house. Kitty, what's going on?
Nothing much, James. So the message that I asked, I might want to wait for James to put his headphones on.
Yeah, it's probably coming back bad. All right, here we go. You're good.
Okay, so when I was talking on Speakpipe, when I was talking about Cody being in the tank, I mean like Cody in dog shit.
Oh, okay.
Pardon my French.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine.
And another point was, actually, this is something that actually came up while I was actually waiting for you to come on, was people in the chat were talking about Robin and how it's kind of like the same thing that happened every single time, like with everybody that she talked to. Like when when Nancy was first with them, how she didn't, after a while, she didn't want to be around Nancy because Nancy caught her ass.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that it was the same thing like over and over and over again. And I'm thinking it's probably the same thing with what happened to her with her first husband.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, because I can see that too. Because to be honest with you, between her and Cody, they don't like anybody to challenge them outside of the way they're trying to present themselves. So the second you give them a little bit of pushback, they're ready to pull the ripcord and parachute out of there. So yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah, and I was like thinking, like, if that happened to her first husband, like how horrible that is to treat someone that you're supposed to love and appreciate and everything else, and you treat them like that. Like that's horrible. And pardon my French on that, but I mean, like, it's dog shit.
Right.
And I've noticed that Cody is actually following the same pattern as her too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cody has been a little disturbed, like since, and to be honest with you, a lot of it, like he really started getting shook after they got to Arizona, and I think the whole move to Arizona had him shook from the beginning, like because once they get out to Arizona and everything's moving forward, and he has like the house, and once they were able to acquire that home, that property. Then all of a sudden it was all bets are off. He started telling them like, you guys are in the way of me living my life and I can't live my best life because y'all all messing me up and tying me down. I can't do what I want to do. Then COVID hits and it was a wrap after that. Like
yeah. And I even noticed it when they were in Vegas too. Like, so like with the last therapist or the last counselor or therapist that they had, they didn't appreciate her at all. What really set me off, when I like I said, like while the chat was like the beginning of the chat was going, was it made me think about what happened with Truly, but Isabel. And when she had to go to do her surgery, and Cody starts saying the same thing that Robin said, like, oh, I don't like that doctor. I think we should get a second opinion. And I'm like, excuse me. Yeah. You don't get no second opinion when it comes to MS there.
Yeah. Well, it's not really your call. Like, that's the weird thing about it, too, because they always pretended like everybody had equal say, but you didn't have equal say because the parent, the mothers always had primary control over what happened with their children.
Well, yeah, and so, exactly.
Yeah, it was just like, what? That's not your place.
No.
You better play your position.
Well, I mean, it was the same. It was the same thing when my ex was trying to say that about my child, well, one of my kids, for I think they're asthma, and I'm like, excuse me,
Mhm.
no, you ain't taking them nowhere else but to that same doctor that I've been taking them there since birth. Don't care. But I mean, it is what it is, right? So
Right, right. No, I mean, well, because I think that with the respect of Cody and Robin, and even in their story moving forward, I'll say this
mhm.
about and the criticism that I have about them, I could issue to them, I would issue to all of them.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
in order for this show to continue, you have to start putting more into the pot. Like, you
Yeah.
just can't keep living off of the old sustenance that you had before. Because one of the most disturbing things, and I've said this kind of before, and it's kind of becoming my refrain, I guess, as I talk about this particular season, is that
Mhm.
as we entered into the hiatus, if you notice, there hasn't been one YouTube channel that has gone back and reviewed anything that happened during the course of the season 19. Every
Yeah.
YouTube channel is going way back to when, like,
Mhm.
Sister Wives Closet, or when they first bought the houses, or, the one house thing, or talking about Isabel's surgery. These
Mhm.
are like cornerstone moments within the series, but nothing interesting really happened in this last season. And if they want to continue their, y'all need the money. So
Mhm.
if you want to
Oh yeah.
continue the show, you got to start putting something into the pot.
Yeah. I think what was it? I think the only thing in this season is when Janelle moved and Mary said good riddance. I think those were the only two moments in this season so far
Mm,
that, kind of
right.
came to light in my eyes anyway. I don't know about anybody else, but
Yeah, I mean, they had like we got to hear a little bit about how the finances worked, and it
mhm.
wasn't even really hearing about how the
No.
finances work. It was more or less confirmation what
Yeah.
people had suspected how the finances worked. And we
Yeah.
heard a little bit more about Cody Pass. And we got to
Mhm.
see Robin and Cody kind of really envelop and embrace their villain side, like the villain arc. But other than that, it wasn't a whole lot to this particular season.
I don't know. I roll my eyes on that whole villain arc, but that's me. But
Well, because like I said, I mean, like Cody's saying that he never loved the wives, that was something he had talked about before. But when he said that, like, all of a sudden he's actively trying to take Cody Pass, that's something
mhm.
he's always kind of hinted at it. And I'm like, yo, this dude is trying to take your stuff. But at this point, he's already saying that because he took a quarter of it already. So just to be
Mhm.
very clear, when they
Yeah.
talk about Cowdy Pass, and
Yeah.
he says that I'm going to split Cowdy Pass, this is what he's saying to Mary and Janelle. I'm going to
Mhm.
split Cowdy Pass up and we're going to divide the shared parts up into 4 plots. He's
Mhm.
not talking about the whole of Cowdy Pass. He's
No.
only talking about the 3 lots, that
Mhm.
the one lot where Janelle has her name, the one lot where Robin has her name, her and Cody have their name, and that they just help pay for those
Mhm.
2 lots, and then the lot where Cody, Mary, and Janelle's name appears. That big ass lot where the pond is supposed to be, that is not a lot that he plans on dividing and sharing with any of the OG3.
Mhm.
So already taken more than a quarter of the property already, and the remaining 3/4 of property he plans on splitting up into quarters. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. That's the first time he said that on the show. You know,
Like what was it? I think it was the season before he was talking about splitting it up to fifths because
right.
of um because of Christine.
Right.
But
Well, because he had always said he wanted to, because even then he was trying to keep a little bit of section to himself. So
yeah.
him and Robin were going to walk away with what, 4 acres. He was going to get an additional 2 acres, so that puts her at 6 acres. Janelle
Mhm.
would have been followed up with 4 acres. Christine would have had 2 acres, and Mary would have had 2 acres.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how they had talked about dividing it up. But yeah, he's going to screw him.
Well, and I kind of realized that he was trying to screw them all the way back in Lehigh, especially with that I don't that four mini apartment house thing. I don't know how you explain it. I call it a duplex, but that's not the true name of it.
Right.
It's
Well, it was
those
technically a triplex.
okay, there we go. Triplex.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
triplex. Yeah.
And I was like, you were trying to screw these ladies over in the first place. Like he made Christine being the basement wife. No one wants
Right.
to be the basement wife. And
Right.
he ended up putting her as a basement wife.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, that's why I think that part of the reason why he moved them out of there is because they were all living together and they could keep track of him and his movement. So, yeah, I mean, it's like that was like a early thing. He was screwing them over, but at that point, he wasn't coming out saying, I don't really want to come home and spend time with you guys, and I don't want you guys to know when I'm over at Robin's house. So we're moving out of here. Like in this season, he seems more like the kind of guy who would have went over to the house and be like, all right, guys, we're all moving out of here because I don't want you to know that I'm at Robin's house. Sorry, not sorry. Like that's kind of where he is now. So he's way more vocal on a lot of his evil ways.
Well,
but it's not really easy. Evil is just he's being an asshole about it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like he's being the ace in the hole. That's what we call it back over here. But I mean, like, but I mean, like, you only saw like a little portion of it at the beginning until now. Is because he was trying to be sneaky. I kind of caught him a little bit here and there, like at the beginning, because it wasn't so. It was subtle, but it wasn't subtle enough. And when you're in a not like a narcissistic, abusive relationship like that, you catch on real fast of how fast that thing goes.
Right.
So, and I do agree with some people here too. Like, I mean, yeah, they should have hired lawyers way long ago, but
yeah, before you give them money. that that was kind of the kiss of death to a lot of this. Like a lot of the claim that they would have had towards some of the bigger money that they should have received was kind of the kiss of death because they didn't consult attorneys. And even then they were kind of putting good money on top of bad money. Yeah. So you give them money so that they can initially purchase the land. He goes down, slathers his name over every piece of property and every lot down at Coyote Pass. And then he doesn't want to pay for Coyote Pass. No. He keeps coming up short, talking about, I don't have no money. I don't got no money. So you have to pay the rest of it off. And even after you pay the rest of it off, you guys still don't go down to the deed and say the recorder of deeds and say, hey, we've paid the land off. Now we're going to put everybody's name on all the property until we figure out what we're going to do. That's how I would have handled it. Like I would have gave him jack shit until we had a letter or we had an application to change the title, retitle everything. Like, we would have did that in the title office. Like we would have did that
I would have agreed on
house.
that. Yeah, I would have agreed on that, but that's me. But yeah, no, I thought I would mention at least those points because I figured that was important for me to discuss of where my head was at. So
okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and like I said, right at the beginning, right before you started the show, I saw the whole a little bit of the Robin, and I was like, you know what, I kind of agree on that. I realized, like, you know, she kind of drops people pretty hot when they get too close to the mark on her.
Right. Yeah, she's out. So, get too hot, and then she leaves. You know.
Yeah. All right, I'll see you back in the chat.
All right, thanks so much, Kitty. Appreciate you. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
All right, guys. Oh, we have a super chat. Just Scrapping in the house. What's going on, Just Scrapping? How you doing? 1999 super chat. Appreciate you. No message, just the love. I appreciate you. Let me give you a little something. I haven't seen you in a bit, Just Scrapping. Missed you. All right. A little, you know, little pop locking. Body rocking. Got next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have Jay in the house. What's going on, Jay? How you doing?
Oh my gosh, hi James. I'm so happy to speak to you. I love all your content and all your insights. So
Oh, thank you.
interesting. And I've
So
been
much.
meaning to call in, but there's like a big time difference. So
Hey, no
um
worries. I appreciate you calling in tonight.
perfect. So I have 2 points really, and I feel like you've touched on both. Well, maybe not the first one so much, but I've kind of felt like, and I don't know if you feel the same way, that Robin's relationship with her adult children, to me, obviously this is just my opinion, I don't know her personally and everything's like alleged, but it feels abusive.
Mm,
And I feel that doesn't get touched upon enough in different content. Like, it's not just someone being controlling. Like, I think her behavior is actually exceptionally harmful and abusive. And in terms of the level of control that she has over her children, in terms of, it seems that she uses fear to kind of like guide them. And understandably, it's hard to make a conclusion about something that's on a TV show, but it's just like, even the way her children present is just extremely childlike for their age, and I think there's not enough dialogue about that actual abusive element to the relationship, in my opinion.
right. Well, because here's what I'll say if you don't mind me jumping in. Um, here's what I would say to that. I think that there's a point where uh I'm not like I don't know whether what she's doing is categorically abusive, right? Because like you said, I don't know them personally, I don't know their situation. It's just that from my perspective, I wouldn't want my children to grow up not feeling, especially the young ladies. Like, I think that maybe it's just a thing where they look at the young ladies as something that has somebody who has to be protected, somebody who has to be cared for, and they overdid it and they overprotected them because they're trying to keep them safe and pure and innocent and all that other stuff. I think that you actually do them a disservice, especially if you're using, and this is kind of where I really agree with what you're saying as far as like seeing them being afraid. One of the worst things you can do to a person is to make them afraid in life, because you limit their ability to fully experience life because they're too afraid to try anything. So you scare them so that they don't go out and do bad things, but then you scare them so much they can't go out and do good things either. Like, that's the double-edged sword. Like, you can't hit a home run. When when I was a younger man, I coached little league baseball for a little bit, and I remember this one kid. He was scared to death. Like, his father was one of them asshole dudes, pardon my French, but he was one of them jerk guys who would come down and he would expect his son to basically be in the major leagues. And like, if you've ever like coached teams, you can tell the kids who have something special. Like, there's something about them, the way they play. Like, this kid is gonna make it. Not every kid is gonna make it, but every kid shouldn't have to make it in order for them to go out and have a good time. But when this guy will watch his kid play, he'll be the guy out in the bleachers yelling at his son, "Swing the bat, swing, swing!" And he scared that boy so much. And it was crazy too, because he was a big ass kid. And if he ever would have connected with the ball, it would have been clean home run. But the messed up part about it is he yelled at that little boy so much, he had him terrified to swing because he was so afraid of striking out. Because if he struck out or he didn't hit the ball, then his dad would yell at him. So like I wound up having a conversation with the dad after one of the games, and he had missed the game, and his son actually played and had a good time. And his son and then when the dad came back, he kept having a good time. And that's all I was concerned about. Let him have fun. And if he falls in love with the sport, that could open the door for him to start feeling more comfortable when he's playing, and him being comfortable at playing and enjoying playing could lead to him potentially being better. But either way, if he's having a good time, who gives a damn?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that when you scare your kids so much that they're afraid to get off the bench, yeah, they're never going to strike out. But at the same time, they're never going to hit a home run. They're never going to hit the ball if they never get up and actually pick the bat up. And if she's scaring them so much, to watch out for boys, every boy is trying to get you, then how are they going to find relationships? How are they going to operate in relationships? Every boy is bad. what up until the time you approve of a man that I can marry? Like what how do I determine when a guy is good and a guy is for me? You understand? So I'll let you take it from there.
No, I definitely I remember you made a point that was really, really interesting, and you made the point that essentially you socializing your children to just follow every word you say means that once you go, they're going to just put someone else to take over that role. So I think it's really, but I think she gets too much grace. I think she actually is incredibly abusive towards those adult children. I think their behavior is extremely abnormal. I think they probably, I don't know them, so I'm not going to guess about their personality, but I think she does them a disservice. And it will be interesting to see them in like 10, 15 years time if they do their own like tell-all. The other point I wanted, and you've definitely touched on this in your other videos, and I'll just like briefly wrap this up, is just literally with Cody and Robin. I think because literally this show took them out of the depths of poverty, and they do everything and anything to just maintain the show. So I feel like pretty much all of their decision making is based on what's good for the show, and they don't mind using people like Mary or giving people false hope and having these relationships. Because remember, Cody always refers to, I was willing to pretend. You know, he says this like it's like a really great thing, but it's just very he's absolutely insane. But he makes good TV. He is the man is absolutely. It's the lack of self-awareness for me. I'm just like, you are TV gold because you are insane. Like the things you're saying, I would never admit this. Like maybe I might think it. I'm not going to share it. Like, and Robin as well. I'm just like, she has no self-awareness. She is absolutely insane, but they make great TV. But I think that drives all of their decision making, keeping the show on, this and that. And it's going to be interesting to see how things go. But thank you so much, James. And I find you so hilarious, by the way, and I love watching your content.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Where are you from, Jay? I hear a bit of an accent.
Okay, where do you think I'm from?
With the accent, I would say you sound like you might be from the UK.
Yeah.
But what part of the UK? I'm not sure.
I'm from London. I'm from South London.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're a little more
I'm
proper,
Black British, just for people to know. Yeah, so.
What are you?
I'm Black British.
Okay. Yeah, I got some stories. Oh man, I got some stories. I worked with a young lady one time when I was in my corporate life who was Black British, and she used to trip people out because they talked to her on the phone and they would be expecting one thing, but then when she showed up, it was something different. So. But yeah, got a bunch of stories about that. Yeah, that was awesome. But thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate your perspective. It was awesome. Have a great night or great morning. I'm not sure what you got as far as the time, but yeah, that was Jay. Fantastic points. And even like I was saying before, if you raise your kids to follow your absolute direction, all you doing is setting them up to follow somebody else's guidelines. That's when you sitting down at the jailhouse trying to figure out why your kid made this mistake. Oh, that's because little Tommy told him what to do because you raised your child to be a follower. Surprise. You know, so make sure if you're going to raise your kid to be a follower, make sure you got some bail money on hand because you're probably going to need it. That's all I'm saying. Like, because not everybody's going to be making good decisions for your child. Excellent call, though. Excellent call. Next up, we have Alexandra PF. What's going on? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well.
Awesome. I have two things I wanted to talk about. So I'll go to the first one. So people are in the chat are talking about the show, not lasting another season and stuff. And I'm like, if you think back on it, the show has tried like the weight loss challenge. The show has tried, home buying. The show has done like a Shark Tank when they did the Sister Wives Closet. So they're running out of like ideas of what to do on the show, and they could have milked it by having Christine doing like dating, but they didn't show her much dating, just David. Right. They could have done like some fake dates or something like to extend it. So I'm like, what other reality show tropes can we use here? Like home reno, dating. I can't think of what else they can do to kind of, keep our interest.
Well, here's the thing. because that's actually a really good point. I never really thought about it, Alexandra. Um, what you described was they essentially were ripping off other reality show premises
Right.
because Shark Tank, obviously Shark Tank with the Sister Wives Closet, the adoption stuff. I think there was like a reality show dealing with kids. You know, it could have been Kate plus 8, could have been like any one of those shows. At this point, where they are, they might very well have to do. I guess Christine's dating was basically the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
You know, the way they kind of described it. But I guess at this point they'll have to do like a 90-day fiance thing, maybe with
Yeah.
Cody and Robin trying to go down to Mexico, which is what, like, I had heard that they went down to Mexico to meet a young lady.
Mm.
In fact, I did a short about it. Like, they went down to meet her and they were trying to talk to her and stuff. And then
Yeah.
eventually she was just like, these two are weird. And
Yeah.
she told production that she didn't even want to be in a room with them. And they booked her a flight and she went back to I forget what I think she was from like Venezuela or something. They met her
Oh my
down in
God.
Mexico.
Oh my
And she was
God.
like, I don't even want to be around these people. I gotta
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And she took off.
That's
So I mean,
funny.
at least that was a story around the campfire, word on the curb,
Yeah.
but word on the street. But that's what I had heard happen. And I made a little short about it. But yeah, so they did try to do the 90-Day Fiance because that is one of their top tier shows on TLC. So I could see them trying to brainstorm for ideas and then trying to reach into the other reality show success stories. So yeah,
Yeah. Like
good point.
plastic surgery, extreme eating, like, eat a cricket and caramel sauce. Like, I don't
Right,
know. Like,
right.
what can they do to keep our interest? Because it is dry. And I think it's only, the fact of like people come here for the community and that's what keeping a lot of it going. Because
Mhm.
it is dry watching.
Right, right.
So
Yeah, TLC owes us some checks, like
that's
me and other
right.
content creators, because
That's
we
right.
keep your show alive, barely. But
That's
I think
right.
that that's also a good point too, because even with the earmark of most reality shows, like the hallmark of most reality shows that actually last, is the idea that they're actually genuinely telling a story about the people who are on the show.
Hmm.
But then you have the gimmicky reality shows like The Biggest Loser, or which that's the weight loss journey, or Bachelorette, or whatever, where they do a bunch of superfluous things that really don't mean anything. And I
Yeah.
see that where they are. That's one of the big criticisms I have about the Brown family as it stands now, is that where they are, we're so focused on the gimmick aspect that you lose sight of who they actually are as people
Yeah.
and what their actual stories are, what their story arcs are. So when they have things go on, nobody really cares. Like, there
Yeah.
was a part where Christine's wedding should have hit a lot harder than it did, but they spent so much time disconnecting Christine and her story from a lot of what was going on. I don't think it really resonated with people the way it could have and the way it should have.
Yeah. And like when Robin's stepdad died, we didn't see that at all. So mentioning it now, like, oh, it really hit her hard. Like, I'm sorry, but we're just not invested because we didn't see it.
Right,
You
right.
can't, give us these small glimpses in and expect us to buy the whole house. Like,
Mm,
we can't care if we're just seeing little glimpses here and there.
right,
Um,
right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
yeah. So that was my first kind of thing I wanted to touch on. The second one was this whole offer that Robin made of carrying a child for Mary,
Mm,
right? And as someone myself who has struggled with fertility issues, um, when a woman typically gets into her 40s, the eggs are less likely to produce a viable fetus, child. Like, it does happen, but it's very rare. The quality and
right,
quantity of your eggs diminishes, and and but what often happens is your uterus is fine. The uterus doesn't age the same way that your eggs age. So that's why women in their 40s can get donor eggs from a younger person and still carry a baby to term and have a healthy baby, no problem. So this offer that Robin made to carry a baby was kind of really stupid, because like, I'll take parts of you and parts of Cody and carry a baby. And it's like, parts of Mary were not viable. That doesn't
right.
make any sense. The only thing would have been to offer up some of her eggs for Mary to take, but even still, like, she was in her 30s at that point. and the cutoff for getting eggs is about the age 32.
Mm-hmm.
Fertility doctors, if they're going to take someone else's eggs to use, they're not going to go over 32, really. So
Right.
her whole offer was BS, and anyone who struggled with fertility knows that that offer was BS. But she kept like thrusting it on her, like, oh, this is a real offer, then consider it. And it's like, no, it wasn't a real offer. There's no issue with Mary's uterus. That wasn't the issue. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, sorry, it just riles me up as someone who's had fertility issues. And if you're going to offer something, offer up viable eggs, because that was her problem. Even the doctor said she had diminished quantity and quality. So
Right.
anyways,
Right.
that's
No, because even touching on that point, like and this is, the terminology is harsh and unpleasant,
mhm,
how they describe it. But even with that state of affairs, when a birthing person hits the age of 35,
yeah,
they consider that to be a geriatric pregnancy.
yeah, advanced maternal age.
Right,
they call it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. AMA. So, like you said, it's not impossible for somebody who's 35 or older to have a baby.
Mhm.
It just becomes it becomes more and more difficult for
Yeah,
you to
and
have and carry and maintain a baby. Like, it's just,
yeah,
and for somebody who is already struggling with fertility issues, like you said, sometimes it's not just a matter of like you actually getting pregnant, but your ability to hold and maintain the child.
yeah,
So there's a lot of things that Mary might have had going on, because she also had miscarriages
yeah.
along the way.
But
So that's a consideration that they would have to take into too.
yeah, but like for me who struggled with this, I'm going through this. I know, like, even that's why you see women who are like in their 50s having babies still, because it's
Mm.
most likely donor eggs. And as long as there's no issue with the uterus that the doctors have identified, and you can still regulate things with hormonal additions and stuff. So women, a lot of people are going the donor egg route
Right.
nowadays.
Right.
So anyways, it's just it was a BS offer, and it was something that the doctors never said was the issue of her carrying the baby. Because, like, people in their 20s have miscarriages. It's
Mhm.
more likely when you're older, for sure, and that age 35 is such a big thing. So
Right. Well, because
anyway, so
even with the with respect of if you are mature, like I think Mary was in her 40s at the time, she had an adult child,
yeah.
and the prospect of you starting over,
Mm,
you're balancing, like, okay, I have a grown child, and do I want to start all over?
mhm,
And then there's a point of uh where you reconcile yourself to the fact of like your reality of where
mhm,
you are.
yeah.
And if she reached that point of reconciliation, I didn't want to drag this out. I understand it might be a little difficult. But if she reached a point of reconciliation where she was saying, I, wanted to have more children, I accept the fact that I'm not going to have more children, and I'm learning to deal with my situation as it is, it becomes an extreme act of cruelty
Mm,
to offer that person that make that offer to that person, knowing full well that one, they're conflicted on it. Two, like, part of me is like, Robin, you knew full damn well, because of the relationship you had with Cody, that Cody wasn't going to go along with it.
yeah.
Even if you offered it to her on a silver platter and said, I have the schedule and appointment for us to go on Friday to get it done, you
Mhm,
knew full well Cody wasn't going along with it. So it didn't matter. And it
yeah.
was just going to be something, if she did want to do it, it's just going to hurt her more, because she
Yeah.
would have to get around to, like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And for Cody to sit there and say, okay, well, I don't want to do it. So now
Yeah.
you robbed her of that twice. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like,
And you
that
did it.
whole thing was crazy.
Yeah, and she did it publicly, and
Mm,
she kept like, if anyone ever said Mary only had one kid, Robin was like, "Well, I gave her the option."
right,
Like she was rubbing it in her face even. She was cruel about it. So,
right.
anyways,
And
this
Cody
show.
took the option away. So
Yeah, right.
so we're going to talk about him now? No, we're not. So let's not bring it up. Let's just
Yeah, and trust me, as a woman in her 40s who's had babies, if you don't have someone there, full time to be like, "Hey, buddy, go make a bottle at 3 a.m." It makes a big difference.
right, your
So, and
turn.
Mary wouldn't have had that help.
Right.
So
And that's another reality, because these ladies, as strong as we say they are and all that, like they were technically single moms,
Yeah.
and so for her to make that decision, like I said, you got a grown child and you talking about you starting over, and the prospect of I'm not starting over with my partner, I'm starting over by myself. And this is something I'm going to have to do by myself. And I'm going to have to figure out how to do this by myself.
Yeah.
You
Like there's
know,
no switching off. Like I need a nap. Please go, be with the little one while I take a 3-hour nap. It's not going to be possible for her.
right,
So, and newborns, they got to eat every 3 hours. Like, as if you don't have someone to help out with that, it's a lot to take on. So I could see
right.
where Mary was, not there anymore. So anyways, I know I've eaten up a lot of your time. So
No, I
thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you. I'll talk to you again.
I have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Good night. Awesome. And next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have Caramel Cuties in the house. What's going on?
You caught me munching on a snack.
Got you.
Thought I had a little more time.
Right.
I guess I'm going to piggyback off of what Alexandria had said and the caller before. But when it comes to starting, I'll start with I feel bad for Alexandria and what she's going through. I've suffered with infertility issues myself, and it does suck. So I personally came to the agreement of God bless me with the 2 biological children and the 1 adopted child that I have, and many hosts of nieces, nephews, cousins,
Mm-hmm.
and friends' kids that I was okay with only having 2. But it pissed me off watching the show, seeing Robin, like she said. Well, I offered when they have the Q&A, and I guess one of the wives was asking about sex, and the forbidden question for the Browns because they never want to answer it. And Cody was like, excuse me, what my wives choose how many kids they want to have, with the exception of Mary. And that's when Robin was like, well, I gave her a choice. She can choose. But because Cody pillow talks all the
Right.
time. She already knew Cody didn't want no more kids with Mary. Whether Mary was 20, whether Mary was 25, whether Mary was 35. He was done. But what irritates me is we're watching season 2, season 3 of him also toying with Mary's emotions as if he was considering having more kids with her.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he got her on board, it's now, let's just make it a no. How about we sit in the no?
Right.
I get it. She's indecisive. I can be too. I'm not one who makes a decision lightly. Like I make my list, I pray about it, I write it out, I get advice from whoever, and then a month later I make a decision. I don't think I'm as bad as Mary because I'm OCD, but she's like overly OCD when it comes to just making a general decision. But I get her thought process. She doesn't necessarily go off of emotions. But let's just sit in that for a second. I don't know what it's like to be a surrogate for somebody else. But I have friends who have gone down that road, and they said that it's not an easy job.
Right.
Assuming women that give their children up for adoption, it's probably the same thing. You've held a baby, you've nurtured that child in your womb for 9 months just for when it to be born to give it away to somebody else. And I know Mary was really like, if I'm going to do this, it needs to be me and Cody.
Right.
No donor eggs, no, you know what I'm saying? Like she wanted that baby to be genuinely 100% her, or 50% her, 50% Cody. I don't know if she said yes originally, if she would be able to handle Robin hosting her baby.
Right.
Because now that's keeping Cody more connected to Robin. That's keeping Cody at Robin's house because it's a high risk pregnancy, or it's, you know what I'm saying? So that would have, I think they would have had Flagstaff well before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
If Mary would have said yes, if that storyline would have actually went to a point of they're going to go through with it. Granted that they could afford it, but you know what I'm saying? And so
Right.
the manipulation tactics that Robin and Cody played with Mary was just despicable to me. Like, and I real talk. I don't know how Mary has never seen this. Like, it seems like now that she's stepped away from Cody, she's having a revelation of all the effed up stuff he's done to her throughout the years.
Right.
But it's like, and I get it because she's admitted on her Friends with Fridays that she doesn't watch the show. She may watch it, I guess, when production makes her watch it, but she's not one. Like, Christine watches the show.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Janelle watches the show. We know Cody sits back and watches it. I'm pretty sure Robin does too, because they want to make sure that they look good for the cameras. But ultimately, I believe Mary doesn't. She may be like, okay, I'll watch it here, I'll watch it there when I have to. But if Mary actually took a weekend, sat at home, and turned on HBO Max from season 1 to close to where they're at now, she might be shocked at everything that's been said.
Right. Yeah, and I would even say though, like with some of that, Mary, you should have been watching this damn show
Massively.
because you should have been watching this show because Cody will say some wild stuff, and it's the stuff that like somebody said it earlier. I've said it before. Like they say shit that you shouldn't say in a room by yourself with the windows closed. You know what I mean? Like this should never pass your lips. Like half the stuff that they say about the stuff that Cody was saying about these women, you should never say that about your wife. If you plan on like the relationship being over and you ain't going over her house no more and you got all your stuff out the crib so she can't cut it up or burn it up, then yeah, go ahead and knock yourself out. If you're okay with having a convertible with no windows, then that's cool. You know what I mean? Go ahead, go crazy. But no, bro, like you don't say that stuff. Like the stuff he was saying, and then like you said with the whole pregnancy thing, it's my belief that when Robin made that offer to Mary, Cody went right back to Robin if she ever thought about genuinely doing it, which I doubt. But if she ever thought about genuinely doing it, I'm sure that Cody would have went right to Robin and said, "We're not doing that. If I have more kids with you, I'm having kids with you. I'm not having kids with Mary, that you're going to carry because that deprives me of an opportunity to have more children with you because she's going to have another child for Mary and then 2 more kids for him right after. Like, come on now. Especially Robin wasn't even taking care of her
I didn't
kids.
think about that part. Right. I didn't think about that part.
Right. So no, I'm not going to let you sacrifice your womb for somebody else when I want to make more kids with you. And then, like you said, you thought it was bad before. One, what happens if Robin carries a baby, don't want to get a baby up?
Yep.
You guys are embroiled in a child custody case. 1, 2, if she does give the child up, when she comes over and she tries to correct Mary or instruct Mary on how to raise the baby, that's all kinds of problems.
Yeah.
I don't think they had the personalities to do it. And like somebody said earlier, I posted on the thing, Susie Q talking about, you can't, how you gonna share a man, but you can't share a kitchen or a bathroom.
That part. That part.
How you gonna share a baby? Y'all can't share a kitchen. You can't be in the kitchen at the same time, but you're gonna try to decide how to rear a child. What the child gonna wear, what the child not gonna wear, when the child gonna get potty trained, what time the baby going to bed, all that little simple stuff. Y'all wouldn't be able to do it. You'd have that child have 3 parents, and it'd be a disaster.
Right. I mean, it would have made great TV, but
right.
In a sense of where these storylines have gone and what comes next. But I personally don't see the show going past season 20. And season 19 up to now has been extremely dry. Season 18, besides the fact of, Christine's wedding, which I thought was a lovely episode the first time around. The second time around, I was just like, okay, I watched it, but I was like, are we going to see anything new?
Right.
And there might have been like a clipper here, like, Avalon missing or whatever. That part was something we didn't see originally.
Right.
Peyton getting shaved up by Mitch, we didn't see originally. So it was like little tidbits here and there. But not enough to really make people be like, hey, Excuse me. Oh, sorry. I don't
No.
want to watch. I want to watch the show based on what they saw, right?
Right. Right.
So I don't see them continuing past season 20. And even to push forth with what you said, like them going to Mexico to meet somebody, Robin don't like to share.
Right.
So even if they try to keep the storyline going for sister wives, because that is the name of the show, that is not what you have anymore unless that pertains to solely Christine and Janelle.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you got a man, his legal wife, and their kids, and that's the show on their part. But Robin don't like to share. So
Right.
where would they bring in potential new wives?
Right.
Because she didn't like to share with the last three. Now that she's queen bee, God forbid he finds him a swimsuit model this time around and not a Diesel Jean model. Where's that going to leave Robin?
Right. And let's be very clear. And that was one of the points I made before too about the whole possibility that he would select another person. If Cody goes for another wife, his next wife is going to be straight competition for Robin. Like as
Mm-hmm.
far as the looks departments are concerned. Like if to be honest with you, it really wouldn't even be a competition because he's going to go for somebody younger and possibly more stylish than Robin was, or at least is at the moment.
Yeah.
And so that's like I don't see him just picking up anybody. So he's going to go for a particular type of woman who Robin was very proud of how she looked when they
Mm-hmm.
first started going, and the fact that she was so much younger than all the other women. Now she would have to compete with somebody who's going to be significantly younger than her, and somebody who, when she was sitting there cracking jokes about Janelle and her size and fitness, this new girl will come in there with the glorious ignorance of youth and talk about, girl, I don't know why you put on weight. All you gotta do is go to the gym and eat, but like you having them conversations. Yeah, I will toss your ass out this window. You better
Right.
watch
Right.
who you talking to. You having them kind of conversations. I don't understand how you let yourself get like that. I would never. Like what? How old are you?
Right.
24?
Right.
Your
Look, and
metabolism is kicking ass. Okay.
then
Tell me to slow
comparing,
down.
they'll
Huh?
they'll pull out her pictures in season one to what she looks like now and be like, well, Robin,
Right.
what happened to your neck? Or what happened to this? Or well, you looked like this before it. Yeah, she couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
was it season one, maybe, when Mary was like, Cody likes my curves.
Mm,
And just from looking at, I'm not body shaming anybody. I'm a big girl, so I get it. Top
mm,
heavy, bottom heavy, all of it. I can understand men not like women with meat on their bones. And so Mary was a little smaller in her younger years, but she had a little weight on it. She had her woman weight is what we call it.
right.
Janelle damn sure had her woman weight, and Christine always said she battled with her weight. She was a little chubby, is what she called it. I like to say fluffy.
Right.
The three of them were fluffy. And obviously, Cody was attracted to them for whatever reason. But he liked their curves. But once you
Mm,
start adding in the kids, pregnancy, life, food, weight, and the older you get, and the more weight you put on, most women have a harder time losing it. And
right.
then here comes Robin traipsing in, who's 11 years younger than, I think she's 11 years younger than Christine.
Mm-hmm.
And Christine's like 2 or 3 years younger than Janelle and Mary. So Cody is, however his attraction to Robin happened, it happened. When it happened, whatever. But prior to Robin, Cody liked thick women.
Mm,
So to sit up here and try to downplay them because they're bigger than you, they have more curves than you, and their stretch marks and whatnot that they may not feel comfortable with, Cody still loved all of it.
right.
So don't
Well,
think like you were the exception to the rule, because it showed that he had three women that looked fairly different amongst the three, besides the fact that they were all blondes and Robin's a brunette. But Cody, it seemed like, Cody and Janelle had an amazing sex life. I guess in the beginning, Christine did too, but towards the end, it fizzled out. And we
mhm.
see what happened with Mary, same thing. So it couldn't have been that he wasn't fully attracted to any of them, but that's the lie he's trying to tell 20 years later.
Right. Well, I
But the
think
proof
that,
is in
like,
the pudding.
as far as his attraction goes, there's also the point of like peer bias where he may feel like maybe he was attracted to those women because that's what he was attracted to. And that's how he liked to get down. But when
Hmm.
he was in the church, when everybody saw Robin, like all them old nasty dudes that he was hanging out with, saw Robin come slinking her ass in there. Now all of a sudden, all that group of guys are talking about how hot she is and how fine she is. So him wanting to have something that all these other guys covet, all of a sudden she becomes the ideal. And that's what he's going after. So I can see that part of it too, where he might have started out, he like, you know what, I like, I like my women thick as cold peanut butter. But then all of a sudden, he gets around a bunch of guys and they kind of persuade him to or entice him to start liking this particular kind of woman. But I think that also plays when he's starting to trying to date somebody now, that he's going to carry that over because he's not going to get somebody who's good for him, good for his spirit, good for his soul, good for his bank book, and good for his personal wealth. He's going to get somebody that everybody else wants, or somebody he
Right.
thinks everybody else wants. And that's going to be a young, because them dudes, not to be too stereotypical, but a lot of them dudes like them young girls. And that's what they kind of go for.
Do
So
you think that getting the show and production played a little part in it as well?
oh yeah, for sure. If it wasn't for that show, Cody would have Robin. Like he would have been with them guys standing around, oh, ain't she hot?
Chasing and
Hey,
looking.
Robin. Should have walked back.
Chasing and looking.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you really think about it, if you tear it all down, like I understand we look at it from the perspective of the show, but if you tear it all down, you had Cody, a middle-aged man who had, if we're gonna put it in real like mainstream terms, a middle-aged man, 3 baby mamas, 12 kids, one on the way, a mid-level job, because at the time he was making what, about 30, I'd say he probably was making about $35,000-$40,000 in Utah, which is,
Hmm.
12 kids. Like this dude is he is
He's
making
struggling.
less than way
Yeah.
much. That's not the dude that a woman with 3 children, newly divorced, is going to try to pull up. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's not the dude. She's like, oh my God, he's so cute. Look at his shoulder. Like that's not the dude.
His
He ain't
laugh lines.
one.
Remember, she was attracted to his laugh lines.
Yeah, he laughs a lot. Like I'm not saying like, look, I'm not saying that dude, maybe she ain't gonna meet him at the Walmart or the Piggly Wiggly. And it, what I mean, they might do the Texas 2-step down that way,
Hmm.
might blow her back out. But other than that, like no, she's not trying to marry this dude. Not with 12 kids and a $30,000, $40,000 job. Like you can't take care of yourself. You can't take care of the kids you got. How you gonna take care of me and my kids? Like there's no way
Right.
she's doing that. So no.
Right.
The only reason why she came and she drove 5. Let's not put that aside either. She drove 5 hours to see a guy who has 12 kids, one on the way, 3 baby mamas, and works, $40,000 job. Nobody is doing that. Nobody is doing it. I don't give a shit how deep his laugh lines are. Unless you got laugh. I don't care. Your
Keep
money,
it
you have to
real.
be you'll be sitting lopsided in the pew because your wallet is so thick. That's the only way somebody driving 5 hours for that.
Right.
It's just not
Right.
happening. It's just not, Just like I don't think he
Yeah.
drove 5 hours to go see it and they sat on the couch.
Barely held hands. We
Right.
just, no.
It kept it pure.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. But to wrap it up, when it comes to Robin and the abuse that she does give to her kids, I believe it's abuse. I've
Mm,
worked with child protective services. I've worked in high schools. If we had students that came in acting like Robin's children, it would have to be an anonymous, well, after speaking to them, of course, it would have to be an anonymous call to CPS. It is
right.
abuse, unfortunately.
Hmm.
And I'll say allegedly for the sake of your show. We don't need nobody trying to cancel James no time soon. But it's not normal.
Hmm.
And I'm overprotective, as I am currently in Southern California while my child's at a 2-day concert that's outdoors and I'm not going, but I've put in every perspective. Like, I've got cousins, relatives that he can go to at any
Mm,
point in the concert if something were to happen, that he'd be okay. Like, I make sure his location is on. You know what I'm saying? Like, my daughter is on spring break on a cruise to Mexico currently. I have her location. Like,
mhm.
she's 21.
Right.
I get being overprotective. I get trying to make sure your children have the safety, happiness, and everything they need in life. That what she's doing is, it's demented. I'm sorry. Like, that's the anxiety that these kids hold. And I'm not taking nothing away from anybody. People suffer with anxiety. I do too at times. But from what we see on camera, high on demand, like, all of it is, it's overbearing at times to see how crippled her kids actually are.
Mm,
And by the hands of, and I'm going to say Robin and Cody at this point, because he backs all that she does. And if she's doing this in the home, I can only imagine the conversations that they have. Well, honey, Aurora wants to go to church and dot 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 dot. You get what I'm saying? Like, just
mm.
like they speak on their three eldest as if they're the younger kids' ages, which I totally feel bad for, because by the time Saul and Ari even make it to 18, well, I'll
Right.
I'll kick Ari out of that equation because she been a writer by herself. Like, she don't have a bedtime. She do what she want to do. She control the house, and it doesn't make sense how y'all let her be a rebel and probably bad as hell, allegedly. But the older three, you keep such a tight grip on. And I can understand, because I get it. They do have a whole other family out there in Wyoming or Montana, wherever they're at, that maybe she's scared that they may just say F it one day and be like, I want to go back and be a Jessup. I'm out. So
Right.
maybe that's why she keeps her, deadbolt grip lock on them. But she's not helping at all. Like, even when them girls do get married, they're probably going to end up in an abusive relationship because they don't have life experiences. She's too scared and have made them scared of everything. So everything's going to go. Whatever her husband wants to do, that's exactly what's going to be done. It's like cult like, sad to say. And
Right.
then we're going to be hearing, that she's in some domestic violence anonymous courses or getting counseling because she's been in a loveless marriage for 12 years and being abused and now wants to leave.
Right.
It's
Right.
sad. And you would think if Robin was so abused by her ex, she then wouldn't turn around and create this environment where her girls can be in the same situation. Anything that I went through in my childhood in my younger years, I share my story with my kids. I'm honest with my kids, and not because I'm trying to negate, like, oh, mom was a rebel when she was a teen. No, it's because I don't want them to repeat the mistakes that I made. But they have to know what my mistakes were in order not to repeat them.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, I think that there's also a point too where when it comes to kids, the hardest thing about having children is you essentially are taking your heart out of your chest and letting it walk around. Like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Make its own decisions.
Yes.
Like, and when
Yeah.
push comes down to shove, like somebody said that to me a long, long time ago. Like, when rubber meets the road, you can't protect somebody from themselves. And the best thing that you can do for your kids is not to shield them and protect them and remove all decision making skills or potential decision making choices that they have from them. The way that you protect your kids is you empower them so that they can make good choices for themselves. And then that
Right.
way they have something that they can carry throughout their life. Because otherwise, like I've talked about it before. Only thing that you're doing is you're creating a scenario where they're looking to somebody else to answer these questions for them. And eventually, when you're gone, or they meet somebody who is more influential and they take your place, you get supplanted. then you have somebody making decisions for your kid who may or may not have the best interests of your child at heart. So the best thing you can do is to empower your kid to make good decisions, because you ain't gonna be there. And I'm looking back on my life when I made crap decisions, bad shit life decisions. You know, my mom and dad wasn't sitting next to me when I made those decisions. You understand
Nope.
what I mean? And so that when I made good decisions, they weren't sitting. That's what you should do, Jay. Like, you have to be able to make those decisions for yourself. And if you don't give them that discernment, then you're doing them a disservice. And
Right.
I think that that's the big part of it. And then watching, like you said, with Robin's kids, you know, I don't know them, and just the way they're presented on the show, she's doing them a crazy disservice. It's a insane disservice.
They both are. And the sad part is, I think Cody may have looked at Robin's kids like his second chance to get it right, or, whatever. His other 13 weren't that bad.
Right,
Even if Garrison, God rest his soul, had issues with alcoholism and whatever else, that boy still bought a house at 25.
right.
He still, you know what I'm saying, was making his way through school. He had a job. Like, those Brown original '03 OG 13, they're actually thriving and doing good in life. You
Hmm.
haven't heard, Peyton's in and out of jail, or so and so's off and on drugs, or this one's a prostitute. Like, you haven't heard none of that coming from those Brown children. And I would think, as a parent, that is something to be proud about.
No,
That
that's
is
well said.
something, you know what I'm saying? I brag about my kids constantly, and not the job that I've done with them, just the humans that they are individually.
Right,
And I don't see as a parent how he can't, because he's more worried about kissing Robin's ass, keeping her happy, and keeping her 5 kids happy, that he stopped giving a F about the other 13.
right, and that's
There's some
true.
cold stuff out there, man. But at the end of the day, sadly, those 5 may need way more help in the end than the 13 ever will. You know what I mean? They just need
Right.
their dad to pay attention to them every now and again.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
It makes me mad, and I can keep going on and on about this, but I'm not, 'cause I'm pretty sure you got a line of people behind me. Real quick, some housekeeping issues. I don't know if before the end of your life you want to just reiterate like what the rules are when it comes to the chats. I think we have one that keeps going through,
Yeah.
making up, other IDs or whatnot and coming through. So I'm trying to be nice when I put it out there, be respectful and do this and that. But maybe you could throw it out there as
No,
well,
I
because maybe
got
they
you.
need to hear it from you and not from just your moderators. So,
No, I got you. I got you. I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
okay. All right, James, I'll see you in the chat.
All right. Thanks for calling in. All right, guys, real quick. As Lizzie B said, be respectful in the chat. To address, I'll say it this way. We can disagree, but we don't have to be disagreeable. Like let's not go crazy calling each other names and all that other stuff. Like, that's just craziness. First thing. Second thing, I noticed this comment at RA. I laughed my ass off. The OG debt was 1,000 times worse than Robin's. Multiple bankruptcies, about 5 welfare scamming, etc. And you all cry about the $35,000. With that, I would say this: the OG3 had declared bankruptcy. This is true. They had welfare scams because they couldn't afford to take care of their kids. And Robin still decided to join this family. She still decided. You can't tell me that she didn't know about the bankruptcies. You can't tell me that she didn't know about them filing for social support, economic support. So she decided to join the family. Now, the reason why the $35,000 is so cogent as far as an argument or discussion is because when the OG3 went bankrupt, they didn't look to Robin to pay their debts. When Robin came into the family with $35,000 worth of debt and 3 children, she expected the family to take care of her. and her 3 killed children and her $35,000 worth of debt. Christine worked up into the time that she had Truly. She had a job working overnight up until the time she had Truly. When Robin moved from her area to their part of Utah, Lehigh, Utah, she didn't have a job. She didn't work. Now, we could say, well, she worked on a TLC show. That TLC check didn't clear. So even if we make the argument that they were spiritually married, at the end of the day, she wasn't earning that money and she wasn't paying those bills. They went how many seasons? They went 4 seasons, and she was the person who had to get their credit fixed. She was a person who had to get their stuff negotiated. I think it was her, between her and I think maybe Janelle, had to get their credit fixed. And Janelle had to get her credit fixed because her and Cody didn't have the financial wherewithal to get insurance, health insurance for Maddie, which is why Janelle had to declare bankruptcy. She didn't declare bankruptcy because she was trying to buy jeans and she was trying to look sexy. She declared bankruptcy because of a medical procedure for her children. So it's things like that. I don't mind the disagreements, but we can have the disagreements and we can have the different perspectives. If you're a Robin fan, you're a Cody fan, again, I encourage you to call in, because I like to talk to somebody, because I haven't talked to anybody who looked at Robin and Cody as a good person or a person who's doing the right thing by their kids. So if you want to call in, by all means call in. If you want to leave a message on Speakpipe, by all means do that. But either way, let's be respectful of one another. Let's be respectful of not only the participants in the chat, like our fellow chatters, but let's be respectful of the moderators who are holding us down. So let's keep that in mind. Diesel jeans. Tania is up next. What's going on?
Hey, hello.
How are you doing?
Good, Tanea.
Tanea, okay, yeah. I know I was swinging for the fences, but I struck out.
It's okay. I'm just gonna put T next time.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Today I got you. So what's on your mind?
I'm glad you said what you said, because I missed the first half of your live because I was watching Pop Psych.
Okay.
That's a psychologist. He's on YouTube, and he had Note to Self on his YouTube channel. So, and they hit a lot of good points. And I forgot the lady's name from Note to Self. You talked to her?
Yes. Yeah, Melanie.
Melanie, yes. Okay. So she actually, I really do encourage people who are on Cody's side and Robin and Mary's side, because she kind of made Mary human to me, because I still was looking at her sideways, because these kids, they don't even want their children around Mary. So that always kind of rubs me the wrong way. But she says in the AUB, even men and women, if you speak up, it's that's perceived as abusive.
Mm-hmm.
So Mary, you always hear Mary talking how strong opinion she is about her round lights and stuff. She's very opinionated, and the way she comes off is harsh. So I see where the kids probably see that as abusive, her just being very opinionated and just firm with her beliefs and how she wants to be treated. So I can see how. So I really encourage people to call in to see where they come from about why they are with Cody and with Robin and with Mary, because let's just be real, they the least cast.
Right. Yeah, they kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel.
They at the bottom. I mean, Mary not so, but Cody and Robin all the way at the bottom.
Right.
So yeah, I was watching that, and they had some interesting takes about just the AUB in general. They didn't really even touch on Sister Wise, so they was just talking about the AUB and them growing up. But and just what y'all was talking about, I just feel like Cody and Robin are just energy vampires, because when you see Christine before she left. Like her whole face was drained. Mary, she was like just drained. Like their face, their energy, it just didn't like. And as soon as they left, like Mary, she's over there with her bitches. That's what Cody said.
Mhm.
Just laughing it up now, living her best life. Christine found a man, and Janelle, she's with her family, got her farm. It's just like they just suck the energy out of them.
Right.
And you
Right.
have to get away from people like that. That's not healthy. It's not about them being safe. It's just they wasn't healthy to be around.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that that's part of it too. Is just sometimes we have to, and it's not just Mary or the OG3. It's just that, like, I've seen people, and I've been in that situation myself, where you're just around people who, constantly everything about them is negative. They're always
Yes.
having a bad day, or there's always something wrong, or this job sucks, or this club is terrible, or anything that you're a part of. They always find a fault with it, and a reason why you shouldn't be there, and it's a waste of time. And it affects you, like it does affect you, and how you view it and how you approach it, and it starts to sap away at your life and your energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in your
But their stuff was
experiences,
kind of getting to the point where it's abusive.
right?
Like the way they was treating them, and then them just draining them of just everything. It's their time, their energy, their money. They was just draining them.
No, I agree. I agree. It's a rough life. I mean, it's when they sign up for it, I'm sure they had a different perspective, but there is a part of it that makes it more understandable. And I think a large part of the reason why uh these types of relationships exist as long as they have is because you keep tapping in young people.
Oh
When you're a
yeah.
young person, you have a different view on life, on where you can convince a young person because they don't really see down the line, like, okay, after all the banging out and the fun times, and you start to get into the real nitty gritty of a relationship, where do we go? And they don't really see that part of it. They just, oh, as long as I'm having a good time and I'm getting what I want, then it is what it is, and it's fun.
That's why
And
I was saying you're young and dumb. Like it's that
right, right. You're getting it in, but you're not really, you don't know what you have until, and more to the point, you don't know what you're missing until maybe you get a little older, you start to expose yourself to different things, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, my partner don't do none of that. you know
Well, it's all about growing and just maturing, and yeah, just being away from unhealthy people. And like I commend the kids this recognizing that, and they just like they kind of backed away even from the religion.
Mhm.
It's like no disrespect towards their religion, and that's what they believe in. But it just I don't think it's all like it's healthy for anybody. It's not healthy for the women. It's not healthy for the men, and it's definitely not healthy for the kids.
No, I agree.
That's all I wanted to say. Like, and the reason why I keep tuning in is because I think it gets to the point where like Cody is just he sees himself like what you said, that these sister wives is taken from other shows to see what's relevant and what can they like do to stay on.
Mhm.
And Cody is just like in this villain area because he's like, oh, I see, like they had a whole TV show about like villains, like reality villains and stuff like that. So I guess Cody thought that, oh, like that's what's gonna get like attraction, and it's not working.
Well, because you got to, in order for there to be a proper villain or even a proper hero, you have to care about what it is they're doing, or you have to care about the people that they're victimizing.
Yeah,
And if you don't know anything about it, you don't pour enough into the storyline or the supporting, content, then people just don't care when something happens. There was a old thing with Ronald Reagan. He said that was maybe it's not, I might be attributing the wrong person, but basically the saying is, one uh unalive person is a tragedy, 100 unalive people is a statistic.
yeah,
And it speaks to like the relationship that you have, like if you can relate to one person passing, and you can see the depth and breadth and the hems and haws, the highs and lows of what happened to this person, all the people that is affected by this one tragedy. But when you see a whole bunch of people pass, it's like, oh, okay, well, you know, that's terrible. But it's not like you don't hear about the parents. I remember when you know, story time. I remember when 9/11 happened, right? There was a story of a man who they call him the fallen man. Like the picture is terrible.
Oh yeah, I seen it.
Yeah. But like to hear his story, you know, that encapsulated like, you know, you go to work that day and then this terrible things happen and you have to make this crazy decision. And that touched me, the decision that he had to make that day. And that's beyond just like the sheer number of people that passed. So with this type of storyline, I to relate it back to what we're saying as far as the reality show is concerned, when something happens, a father is supposed to love their children, a mother's supposed to love their children, and when it doesn't happen, it could be a terrible thing. But if I don't know enough about what's going on, you just saying that this is what's happening isn't really enough for me to have the emotional feel. I'll have the logic understanding and disapproval for it, but I won't have the emotional connection. And I think that that's what a lot of their storylines are missing is the emotional connection or tie to their fan base.
Yeah, like what you said, like one person it's a tragedy, but then like you don't put like faces and like put like make them human when it's a group of people. Because I live in Philly and the plane that just crashed, like just them just saying the amount of people that passed and like you just don't put like faces and like stories to it. And like what you said, 9/11, like his family made him a human being and saying that he wouldn't do this without like it being dire need for him to jump.
Right.
Like he wouldn't just do that like because he believes in heaven and he don't believe in suicide. They humanified him and they made him human. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but like just with Cody and I just don't think you trying to be a villain is in the long game is not going to help you with your relationship with your children or any of your family.
Right.
He can say that the fans don't know him, but when he got onto the podcast and he did his YouTube and said that, oh, his sister looked at him funny because she saw the episode with like Janelle cursed him out, whatever, and she believes like he's this person. Well, your sister should know you. Like you can say what you want about the fans, but your sister should know that's your personality. So don't say that, oh, she saw one episode. No, she knows you.
Right. Right.
So like don't play that.
Right. Dismiss it. You know, oh, you don't know what it's really like. Oh, she knows what it's like.
Your sister know you.
Right.
So him and Robin be telling on themselves. Like y'all not great liars. Y'all kind of got us like the first night, well, let's say 15 seasons. Like we kind of got into the trap, but no.
Right. Right. We have started to see the light.
Well, I've been saw the light, but you know that's I've been called in and I said I stopped watching because I went through abusive like relationship and that it was too much for me, and I didn't have nobody to have like because nobody around me was watching the show. So now that I have everyone here, with Mr. James, like I have an outlet because it's like you kind of like trying to trick your viewers and like trying to pull the wool over our eyes, and it's not working. It's been not working.
Right. Right. No, that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. I appreciate you calling in. No, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. That was an excellent point. That was an excellent point. You know, one of the craziest things about what she just said actually really struck me just now. I wish I kept her on. But it's the fact that like these abusive or relationships where you get mistreated, there's always a cover of like veneer where everything looks perfect on top and everybody is smiling and happy. But if you dig just a little bit, you see that everything ain't right. You know what I mean? Everything isn't okay. It's not fine. It's not good. And I think that that's kind of where we were as we watched the Sister Wives program from the first episode, first season, all the way through to season 16, when a lot of the cracks started to form and you had the wives starting to leave Cody and reveal what was actually going on. So I think that's very salient. But thank you so much for calling in. Next up, we have Darlene. Darlene, what's going on?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you been?
I am good. I also just want to piggyback off the last two callers. Agree with what they said, and I agree with mostly everything you say, like 99%. But I don't. Okay, I guess I can see how there are some people that would agree with Cody and Robin. Okay, there are millions and billions of people. There are how many different personalities out there? There is somebody for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I just don't F with people like that. I accept them for who they are, and I keep on moving. You know what I mean? Ugh, you can't make everybody have common sense. You can't make everybody agree with you. It's an opinion at the end of the day. It's not worth arguing and fighting about. But I would love to throw eggs at Cody if I ever see him drive by. You know what I mean? We come here to have fun, banter back and forth, fun bickering. It's a family. It's somebody to go to talk shit about such a wives, because not everybody watches it.
Yeah,
It should never get serious. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah, I say that about YouTube in general. Like, if you stressed out watching YouTube, you need to find something else to do, because it's not that.
Yeah.
There are deeper
Right.
problems than what we talk about on YouTube.
My goodness, people on here. I mean, going too far left or too far right. Come on. Stay on topic. Stay on subject. We're only talking crap about these people.
Right.
And again, I would never actually wish harm on anybody. I would love to see him get his ass whooped by a female. That would break his spirit. That would break his heart.
Yeah, he. I don't think he'd be able to take it. Yeah, I don't think he could take
Oh
it.
my! And let it be on TV. Like, I would pay to see that. Like, let that be a boxing night. Like, I'll pay $144.95. But I mean, again, like I said, it's just fun bickering. And I'm always on the other pages or people, whatever you want to call them. You guys, creators, I guess. Watching everybody. Thank you for being patient with us who can't do the membership yet. I'm just in between jobs.
Hey, no. Yeah, don't worry about that. That's, I appreciate folks who join the memberships, and memberships are available and all that good stuff. But, when rubber meets the road, like, a lot of the stuff that I'll release in the members only stuff, I do plan on, like, maybe later putting it into the general populace too. Because if it's something that I want to share and I think is worthy or worthwhile, I definitely want to give it to as many people as possible. It's not a thing where I'm trying to create an exclusive or exclusionary section. So no. Yeah, no. Because I've been up and I've been down, baby. So I've risen to the top, and I've been at the bottom. Like, I've done all kinds of stuff. So I get it. Like, sometimes life is just jacked up that way. You up high 1 minute, and then life has a tricky way of kicking you right in the ass. Just I'm doing good. Next thing you know, life's like, oh, you smiling too much.
Yeah. But again, we watch you, we respect you, we like your point of view. And again, respect is given where it's earned, and it, it's just not for free or to be taken advantage of. Like, he wants to be respected and not loved.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Right.
Is that I don't know what that point of view is. I can't get with it.
Well, it's like a little cutesy thing that, like, some of the Manosphere guys was kicking around. Like, I gotta be. If you don't respect me, you can keep the love. Like, I don't understand that.
But you just called them. They have a name. There's those kinds of people out there. Right. We just need to stay away from them. Don't put money into them. Let them fall where they lie. Let them hang themselves, per se, whatever. Give them an inch, they'll take a mile, but they're going to hang themselves with the same rope. Let them go.
Right.
We saw it coming. They have no content without the family. Nobody wants to see. Okay, my fault. 1,995 people want to see Robin and Cody's family. but 3.395 billion don't want to see it. Okay, we
Right.
want to see the other three's family, and even I'll take Mary hands down. Again, long story short, I just about bringing up my job. I left a good paying job because of someone like Robin.
Oh wow.
And if you, I don't know, if you do the signs or whatever, even the same sign. Like, I'm not playing with you, James. I swear this on my dead parents' graves. I am not kidding you. They're overbearing. They try to run the family, and I do medical, and I'm in there taking care of. And then you got outsiders barking and then bring no. Uh-uh. I was there for years, and I walked away. And
Yeah.
again, that's what the other lady said. It wasn't even worth it no more. They just walked away. They have a very overbearing personality because of their anxieties. They want everybody to, oh God, woe is me. And they want to control everything. And then the kids, not okay. We shouldn't compare, but again, like the other caller said, let's compare.
Right.
How are those adult kids, no matter they grew up poor, with bankruptcy parents, with poor parents, with working nights, pregnant, 6 kids each, and then Mary's even one. Even they all struggled because they didn't have the show income. Robin ain't never struggled once she was in the family. She never struggled. Period. She don't know what it feels like, except maybe before. But no, she just ran up her husband's credit and then bounced on him. So has she ever really been poor? No, technically, she takes other people's money. That's how.
Right.
That's her scam. So again, pairing those adult kids have relationships, better marriages. Ooh, dare I say, even better than their parents. The adult children of the OG3. The other ones are being dumbed down, controlled, manipulated. That keep quiet, keep sweet crap, whatever that is. You know, don't say anything. You don't. Well, shoot, they might. I'm surprised they're letting them get an education.
Right. Right. Well,
But
because
that's
I
how
think
controlling they seem.
right because I think that part of it is just the with the OG 13 kids, they were allowed to express themselves a little more. They were allowed to be more of themselves. Whereas with
Mm-hmm.
Robin's kids, she was so determined to keep them safe and keep them separate that
Mm-hmm.
she might have put them in a situation again. I mean, the crazy part about Robin's kids, I know they had the whole thing about like the choosing of the church and the ear piercing. The truth of the matter is kind of what I've been kind of harping on for the last few weeks is that even during season 19, I don't know much about Robin's kids because the only time that you really saw Robin's kids on the show and they actually had a storyline, any kind of storyline, was when Dayton needed to get his surgery after Cody ran him through the fence on
Huh.
ATV. And the second time was when they were being adopted. Other than that, they didn't have any real involvement with the show. Like, so, you know,
Well, five
I
minutes of
don't
ear
really know much
piercing.
about them. Hmm?
5 minutes of ear piercing
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the ear piercing thing was like, what are we doing? Like she's like
was
23 years old. Like she can get a tattoo by herself. What is she ear piercing? What are you talking about?
and see the majority of the world looks at these types of things and say that's weird. That's not typical or normal.
Right.
Okay. I know all families are made up of different ways, but they run on a normal type style. We get up, we eat, we go to work or school, you know, we eat, we go to bed. I mean, we take showers in between there somewhere. You see what I'm saying? Like God only knows what they do behind closed doors.
Right.
Or these kids, think about it though. Are these kids promised something that they know he's willing to give up when he has given up the rest of the children? Maybe money to keep them quiet and like you said, maybe what are those things? Non-disclosure crap. What is that?
Oh, the non-disclosure agreements. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he was
And
trying to
or
push that on
payments.
Christine's kids. And I mean, like the weird part about it is is that they also have a financial hold on Robin's older kids because they are reliant on their parents. So I could see them using those levers to control what they say, what they do, and how they do it. So they're not really free to go out and make decisions for themselves like that either.
Right.
So I'm also cognizant of that fact. Like they might be crazy as hell, but you'll never know it because if it ever came out and they embarrass their parents, they're getting cut off. So I mean that's a possibility too. But again, that's part of what I'm saying as far as like I don't really know what's going on with them because they haven't been on the show and they haven't done any real storylines. I mean, they sit there and do like the little weepy ass, like, you don't understand my mother because she's such a good person and she does everything. But I mean, that anybody's gonna say that. Like, I'm not gonna just drop kick the puppy on the way into the studio, but she gonna sit there on the couch and cry. You don't understand. She's allergic to dogs. That's why she's trying to shoot the dog with a foot. Like, it just doesn't mean anything to me. You know?
Right. Yeah, he still abused the dog when he didn't even get near you yet or something.
Right,
Yeah, you keep him like a football.
Well, and the fact that I don't like if your testimony and your word of this is what happens means very little if I don't know who you are. Like I need somebody to vouch for you so you can vouch for somebody else. Like they're bringing Robin's kids in to try to vouch for how awesome Robin is, but I don't know them either. So technically I need somebody to vouch for them and say that they're good people and they're honest and they know what they're talking about and they're going to tell you the truth so that they can come in and tell me about Robin. So I need like one of the OG 13 kids to come in and say, yeah, they're cool. You know,
Bingo.
you can listen to them. They know what they're talking about. Other than
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Again, we've seen the other three wives. At first, he kept everything, or she did, secluded. We weren't allowed to see them, but they said it was because they didn't want to show affection in front of the other wives or anything. So they had to hide and diminish their feelings and not show any, not even hold hands, not even wink an eye for fear. Okay, so he hid everything, but so he lied and was in denial, one or the other. There's only two choices about your favorite wife. Everyone's telling you you're in denial. You hide. I'm not going to talk about that. Who did he say it to? Suki, whatever her name is.
Yeah, Suki.
Yeah, there it is. And he shuts her down immediately. Well, who are you? You got the balls to talk like that? They pay you to speak. We want to hear some answers. This is your job. But that last whoever producer put him on the high pedestal that he was. I don't think he ever had the value. We didn't watch for him. We were screaming since day one, get away from him, girls, run, take your kids, run.
Right.
Dude, as soon as they saw the light of what they could have, could be, could do, they were out.
It's true.
It's a sign.
It's true. But thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you. That was awesome, guys. Give them a round of applause. Oh, we have Brittany in the house. I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. I saw something in the chat. Brittany in the house. What's going on, Britt? 49 super chat. Thank you so much. They only show Robin's kids' L's. Dayton's eye, Aurora's panic attack, Brianna's singleness, Saul's gums, Ari's rambunctiousness. Nothing positive. Yeah. And I think that's supposed to humanize them. Like, so they don't want to show the wins because a lot of the wins might be bought and paid for. So they show a lot of the we need a storyline about these other kids so that they can be involved in the show. Now, here's the thing. Do you think that if TLC said, we're willing to pay additional money for kids storylines who appear on the show, we're willing to give you guys a little kick bonus to get some of their stories out. Anybody who comes forward, their kids come forward, we're going to give them a little pad paychecks. I bet you money we be learning all about these kids. We would have them on first name basis. We know everything about it. But right now, and this is the thing, like, to be honest with you, I don't necessarily fault Robin or Cody for keeping their kids off of reality show. As a person who is a content creator and I make content off of Sister Wives, one of the shows I make content for, it hurts me. You know, it's not good for me that I don't really know their kids. But for the development and well-being of their children, it's probably better that they don't appear on the show. I mean, you're not going to hear that from a lot of folks, but yeah, that's just how I feel about it. It's probably better they're not on the show, especially if they're little, you know, if they have like things with them, like they're a little quirky or whatever, then you might not want to highlight that on the show. So I understand that part of it. Just doesn't look good when you, but at the same time, here's the caveat though. I say all that to say this. At the same time, if you don't bring them on the show because you don't want to embarrass them, you don't want to expose them to reality TV, you don't want to open them up for that, then leave them off the show. Don't bring them back on the show to try to, you know, oh, my mom's a good person and roll them out for that. Just leave them off the show and let that be that. But that's a good point, Brittany, not Brittany. Get a little something, something. All right. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me just check one thing before okay. Yeah, so real quick. Oh, I gotta get this. Drop my notes. But just real quick, to go over what I was saying before, I will be doing some I'm gonna basically stabilize the channel a little more as far as the content creation. I'll be having stuff come out more consistently and more predictively. So tomorrow on Monday, I'm going look forward to seeing the motivational Mondays from my members. I think I'm gonna try to release that if it comes out pretty good and the members say they like it. Because it's just kind of my thoughts that I put together. I did it a little earlier. But I'm gonna drop that Monday morning for the members. And I also have a video coming out talking about Love After Lockup and their storylines. That will be out tomorrow. How they got locked up. So it's like the Love After Lockup crime stories. And I'm going to talk about my perspective of how these crime stories are presented to the general public. You know, how they're trying to make them heroes and make it seem like it's awesome and easy money when it's actually terrible money and terrible life decisions, and it will ruin you and your life. On Tuesday, I'll be talking about Sister Wives. I might have to do a couple to Sister Wives because I have a few things that I want to talk about when it comes to Sister Wives. 90 Day Fiance, I'll be talking about that on Wednesday. I'll be releasing a video on Wednesday. I'll be releasing Last Resort, 90 Day Fiance on Thursday. Then, of course, Thursday evening, Eastern Standard Time, we'll be doing the letters, like the Speakpipe stuff. Friday, I call that Potluck Friday. I'm going to try to do like a lot of the court stuff. Might even pull some like Judge Judy, some People's Court. But this Friday, I really want to talk about the Ruby Frankie case. And I want to give a perspective that I haven't heard anybody else give. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't heard anybody else give it. So I want to make sure I get that out. But I want to thank everybody for drop that. But Lizzie B with gifted 1 membership on MyTakeOnReality membership. Thank you so much, Lizzie B. That's awesome. So somebody can benefit from that. That way, maybe you guys can participate in it. You'll have the Monday morning motivation tomorrow available, probably about 9 Eastern Standard Time. So check that out. And then for everybody else, I think I want to I'll release it to the members first, and then I'll release it to everybody else too, because I want everybody to be able to participate. But thank you guys so much. I am all right. Got a little pepper in the chat. All I would say, just in cadence of something that Carmel Cutie said earlier, I would simply ask that we don't really have the kind of community where we sit and bicker and argue with one another. We don't call each other names, so on and so forth. And I would just ask that we be respectful of each other. We be respectful of each other's opinions. Not everybody's going to feel the same way about all the people on the show. Maybe some people are going to have different perspectives. There's some things I watch when I start to get into Sister Wives is pretty much easy because it's pretty much cut and dry. But when we start to get into some of the things like 90 Day Fiance or they started getting like Seeking Sister. Ooh, hit my microphone. Seeking Sister Wives and all those things. Then some of us are going to have different perspectives, and we have to be able to have the room to disagree or have different perspectives so that we can, learn from each other and have those conversations. So with that being said, my only ask is I don't ask that you guys all get along because nobody wants to have a bunch of sheep. Okay, people who can't make up their own minds and have their own thoughts. I don't like that. But at the same time, we can disagree. Excuse me. Excuse me. We can disagree, but we don't have to be disagreeable. We don't have to hurt each other's feelings, call each other names, try to make each other feel bad. We'll push them down and shove. As much as we may like the OG3 or Robin and Cody, crazy as that is, as much as we may like them or identify with them, these are people that we see on television, and they shouldn't change who we are as people or how we treat each other. With that being said, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. I'm still trying to hold to the 2-hour mark. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. For those who are on the rewatch crew, I appreciate you guys too. Thanks for calling in. Before I go, I want to make sure I thank everybody who is in the chat, kept things cool, as well as the mega mods. We got Brittany Not Brittany coming in. We got Lizzie B, who hold me down always. And of course, we got Carmel Cuties, who called in, showing her knowledge of the subject matter, so on and so forth, as well as being a mega mod. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. Thank you guys for hanging out with a player. I appreciate you. That's my take. I'm James. Oh, before I go, let me give you guys a little something, because I always want to give the mega mods as well as the chat a little something, and appreciation for everything that you guys do. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. That's my take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out. And I'll see ya on the flip side.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side. Yeah.